Um, it's definitely a valid question, and you have to think about risk aversion. You know, it's a thing about thinking about what's the worst that can happen. Sometimes what I like to do, right? Because when you think about it, it allows you to prepare for all of those different scenarios, and it allows you to avoid those scenarios. So I think it was my brother's being there mentor called it red flagging. He said in his 20 some odd years in business, he never had problems because he would always think ahead about what the problems could be. Like if I get into an agreement with somebody, I want to make sure I have it in contract. Just in case this person try to withdraw, I already got a written letter for him to make sure that nothing can go, averted. And so what it's thinking about is creating a system in place to make sure that you don't have to make all of those mistakes. I know one of the biggest things for me when I quit my job and, went full time was learning how to manage myself, learning how to manage my time, learning how to manage my energy, learning how to manage my mind. And so that's why I focus on management so much because, you definitely have to create a system. When you have somebody else managing you for, you don't realize how much they're doing for you. They're telling you, because work is an exertion of energy. You're getting paid for your time. Somebody's telling you how to put your energy here so it's going to be best for the company. But when you procrastinate, of course, somebody will be like, nah, you ain't doing nothing. Let's find another task for you so that they can continuously manage your energy in the right direction. But as an entrepreneur, not a lot of us have great mind management skills. We don't have great, skills of making sure that every day we're doing something, but not just being busy, but being productive. Because I would rather, not work a whole 40 hours a week or 50 hours a week. I would rather try to figure out how I can maximize the time efficiency, so therefore I can do things correctly. So therefore I don't have to spend as much time on a task. So the better you are at something, then the easier it becomes. So for me, I definitely, finding that discipline for one in mentoring and patterning your mind off somebody else who's already done it before allows you to skip past a lot of those mistakes that you will make once you get into business. So getting the knowledge, that's why I always tell people, make sure your knowledge match your goals. But a lot of people have goals, but they don't want to value knowledge. They don't want to become a disciple of that discipline in order for them to actually complete that goal. So risk aversion is looking at what is the worst that can happen, and then how do I put a system in place just in case those things happen? How do I make sure I have some money set aside? How do I make sure I get all of the proper knowledge? Like you want to make sure that you cover every single thing so that nothing happens at all. And that's something that I continuously learn in business as I get customer feedback. They tell me, oh, this didn't make it in. That was this, that, and the third. So I'll say, cool, let me put a system in place for each one of these different things so that it don't happen again. And the more systems you put in place allows your business to be able to flow. But it all comes down to management. Like sometimes you have to know even how to give yourself a day off or when to take a break, because you can be working 10 hours a day, but at some point you're going to dull. So the efficiency of your work is not going to be the same. You're just going to be working, but you're not going to be really productive. So therefore, you have to learn, okay, when am I most efficient throughout the day? When am I getting the most done? I would rather be working 4 hours at a higher rate than, trying to work 8 hours just to say that I was working hard. No, I would rather be working smart. So patterning yourself on somebody who's already done it, the mentorship is just so key. Because, look, if you're a young person, they come to me and they say, Keith, I want to start a clothing business, or I want to be a speaker, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you all of the game necessary. But then also you have to make sure that you don't want to become an entrepreneur just because everybody's saying do it. You got to do something that you're actually interested in so that you get up every day and you want to master that thing. You understand me? So you have to, that's why all of these things is really, speaking on the same thing. It's all about self-awareness and mastering self and knowing what you have the ability to do. And if you're the type of person that, doesn't want to manage an entire business and things of that nature, because business is just the activity of life. The things that you do daily, all of your activities add up to your business, your busyness. So everybody doesn't have to be the one who comes up with the idea, but get somebody behind somebody who does. You understand me? Figure out where do you actually fit in. I believe collaboration is key today. Collaboration over competition any day, because the internet is nothing but a collaboration of the collective consciousness. Whether you want to collaborate with somebody's idea or not, once you view it, you already taking ideas from them. You already taking suggestions. But I don't have to have the entire system. If I got the idea, somebody else might have a platform. I might have the idea, but somebody else may have the funding for it. So I'd rather collaborate with somebody else, and that all goes towards, managing yourself and knowing what you're good at and knowing what you're not good at. You understand me? And what is this person's strengths? What are my strengths? Or what are my weaknesses? What's this person's weakness? We're going to be able to collaborate so that whatever I can't do, you can do. And whatever I can do, you can't do. And so that we have that system. So risk aversion is really, really big. And that's why you should be paying money to get the knowledge, get you a consultation. You know what I mean? Because that's going to be allowing you to avoid the experience of all of those mistakes that you're going to have to make. I know I got an older brother, and I was able to learn a lot about all his mistakes that he made. So it allowed me to avert a lot of those risks. It allowed me to assess the situation, learn from it, put myself into it. Like, nah, I don't want to do that. He did this already. He been in certain situations. You understand me? Now, of course, I'm hard-headed, so there's a lot of things I just had to learn for myself and go through it anyway. But that's not the best way of the more intelligent person to learn. You get a lot of wisdom from it going through it yourself, but you would rather avoid those mistakes because they're costly in business. So look, like I say, the mindset of entrepreneurship is for everybody, but the activity is not, because not everybody's going to manage themselves to where they're going to actually run a business that's going to be successful 10 years outward, because you have to be an entrepreneur really at heart. Like, I've been doing this since, shoveling snow on porches and seeing opportunities and seeing value in it. You know what I mean? Making $25 per yard. You know what I mean? When I stayed in St. Louis when I was younger, or selling candy when I was younger, or selling drugs, as I got older. It's always been some hustle, some entrepreneur spirit somewhere, exploiting some value that I can make to be getting compensated for profit. But as I get older, I say, you know what? I got to really learn the system of what being an entrepreneur is. And so therefore, I have to expand my mind. I have to expand my knowledge. I have to develop better management skills. You understand me? So that I can actually get the desired outcome that I want to. So it's not just about what you want to do, but what you have the ability to do. What do you have the skills to do? And then you have to be humble enough to be able to learn from the individuals that do have that. So look, that mentorship is going to allow you to avoid mostly all of those mistakes. But at the same time, it's going to let you know whether you're willing to do this or not. You understand me? If not, like I say, every business still needs employees. You understand me? But get into it for the right reasons. Just because you're an employee don't mean you can't have investments. You understand me? People think like being an employee means that that's the only thing that you do. No, you take the money from there and you use it to invest in self to make sure that you're secure as the person that's hiring you. You understand me? So, risk aversion, I would say, is, getting that mentorship, getting those consultations, thinking about assessing the situation and critical thinking, and thinking about what's the worst things that can happen, and creating a system of preparation, and making sure that you're able to avoid those mistakes. Find somebody in business that's done with the exact thing that you're trying to do, and then learn from them. What's the thing they call? They do the funneling, the sales funnel. ClickFunnels, to where the ClickFunnels is basically, if you go on somebody's website, and you ever seen a website where they sell like vitamins in a bunch? You know what I'm saying? They try to sell like a pack of 12. It's a sales funnel system. So it gets you to buy one thing, then suggest another one. It's basically becoming a salesperson, but online. But it's automatic for you. And so what it does is it increases the value of those sales. Now, some of those end up making like $100,000 or $1 million. So what the person to do is, the entrepreneur say, let me go through the system. Let me figure out everything that they did, every single step. Let me duplicate that system. Let me take it over here, implement it within my business so I can get the same results that they got. Because if their system is successful and I want those same results, then I want to model my system after theirs. It's the same way if somebody is very good at, you watching Floyd Mayweather and you trying to figure out his boxing skills and talent, you're going to say, I'm going to practice exactly like he do. I'm going to take that same level of dedication. So that's why patterning yourself off someone else's design is allowing you to get their results. But if somebody is not good at it and they are very unsuccessful in business, you're not about to pattern yourself off them because you don't want those results. So that goes towards risk aversion, and that goes towards mind management.
And to touch on how we can also limit the risk of going on to entrepreneurship, as I was saying before, we got to check our egos, because so many of us want to jump out there and do everything ourselves. How many of y'all growing up, we used to laugh at Mexicans when they used to all